Okay, call the meeting to order, and I've been asked to be sure all board members make sure that their microphone is pointed at them when they are speaking. Whenever you're speaking, speak in the microphone so that everyone can hear you. So we call the meeting to order, and everyone's here except Mary Williams, and Mary is involved in the recovery effort of the tornado victims in Beaufort County. So I wanted to make that. Pledge of Allegiance. It's Mary, but Jennifer, will you do it?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moment of silence. And we need to remember the tornado victims that we've had in Pitt County as well as throughout the state in Beaufort County. Also, the student death at North Pitt, that was Thomas Stanley. And I also want to mention the family of Cody Norris. He was a 19-year-old young man, and he graduated from Aden High School, and he passed away this Sunday before last. And we need to continue to remember our students and parents and their safety at the schools, and also during this time of testing that they get along well and they don't have a lot of anxiety, but that the testing goes well as our graduations. Let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Mildred moved and Ms. Forrest second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We got one public expression that Brock gave me. Carolyn Reed. And since you are representing a group, you've got 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Carolyn Reed. I'm the Executive Director of Parents for Public School of Pitt County. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about us and give you an update. As you may know, we're a national organization, about 20 years old. We have chapters in a lot of states. And our chapter here in Pitt County is the first chapter in North Carolina. What does Parents for Public Schools do? Well, I should start by telling you what we don't do. We're not a political organization. We don't have an agenda. We also don't dictate curriculum or try and interfere in school governance. We're here to promote positive community and parent engagement. Now you have a handout that has our mission. We just reformulated this at our strategic retreat. Our mission is to strengthen Pitt County Public Schools by engaging, educating, and mobilizing our community. And I want to emphasize that our mission is system-wide. We're not just about schools in Greenville. We're about schools in every part of the county, and that we're inclusive. Although we're Parents for Public Schools, I almost think it'd be better if we were named Communities for Public Schools, because we really do want to engage parents, grandparents, caregivers, the business community, and people that have no familial relationship with the Pitt County schools, but that just have a heart for public education. All right, our core belief then is that schools are better when the community and parents are positively engaged. And I think we've all seen that in our experience. When you walk into a school and it's supported by the community, it's a win-win for everyone. All right, what are we doing? how are we accomplishing our mission? We have 3 initiatives going on already, and they are tried and true initiatives. These are not things we've made up. These are things that have been done at the national level in other states and been very successful. And if you look on your handout, there's the 3 initiatives. The first is community conversations, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We gather parents and community members, and we talk about the public schools. On the back of your sheet, you'll see the actual form that we use. We distribute it in advance or pass it out at the meeting and let people fill it out. And it's deceptively simple questions that are just a jumping-off point for conversations. We've had a few of these already. They've been very interesting and very successful. We've had a lot of positive conversations about the public schools, and we're compiling this data. In fact, we even did one at a principals meeting, so we got the principals' perspective and answers to all these questions. The second is the parent engagement program, and that's basically a leadership-type training series of 6 classes for parents. And we're really excited about that. We're having the national office send trainers. They're coming the first week of June to train event coordinator and facilitators for Pitt County. And this is a program that will be rolling out in the fall. We already have 6 states. Parents come and they learn about educational issues, and they also learn how to engage positively and in a professional manner. The last initiative is school tours, and this is something that we feel strongly about because everyone in our organization has had positive experiences in the public schools. We feel like if we get parents who are trying to decide between public school and private school into the public school, you know, we're going to get them to come to public school. So the tours are a way of getting them in and getting them to talk to the principal, see the classes, see the teachers. Brock was kind enough to set up a tour for our board last week, and this is the second tour he set up for us, and we toured Ridgewood, Rose, and South Greenville. Only in Greenville, in interest of time, we're going to tour some of the other schools too. But it was very interesting, and we all went as a sort of a pilot as parents who knew nothing about these schools, and in fact, I'd never been in Ridgewood, and to see how they were conducting the tours, and it was really helpful to see the information that we got. We were very impressed, and it's going to help us develop sort of suggestions about what parents want to see and hear when they go on these tours to help recruit them to the school. Okay, that's all I have for you. I thank you for letting me come talk. If I could ask you for one thing, it's that we're an all-volunteer organization. If you have parents who are excited and positive about public schools or are looking for a way to get involved, send them my way. Give them my number. The number on my card is my cell number, and I do answer it. So we have parents on our board from different parts of Pitt County, but we need more. And we can always find a way to plug them into our parent engagement program. So I thank you for your time. Any questions?
Carolyn, I would just like to say thank you from the Board of Education of what you're doing and what your board is doing. And I just think that it's very positive that when you can get parents to go into those classrooms, and it gives them a better understanding of what's going in the school where they may not even go at times. And it makes them more comfortable with the school. And we appreciate what your board is doing.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate what we do. We feel like we've got a great school system here in Pitt County, getting better all the time. We want to help get the word out, get parents in, and show it off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brock.
Good evening. You all might recognize this gentleman here to my left. Our first spotlight tonight is an athletic spotlight. This is Coach Ronald Vincent, baseball coach at J.H. Rose High School. And I want to tell you about some great things that's happened with Coach Vincent recently. The latest of many great things that's happened with Coach Vincent. As you all know, or you might know, Coach Vincent is the all-time winningest coach in high school baseball, has more than 800 wins, 6 state championships under his watch at J.H. Rose High School, He's a native of Greenville, graduated from J.H. Rose High School in 1965. Sorry. He coached for 4 years at Farmville Central and then joined Rose in 1973. And as I said, he's built them into a perennial power since that time. Well, why he's here tonight is because he was recently inducted into North Carolina High School Athletic Association's Hall of Fame. And he was named the Sectional Coach of the Year by the National Federation of State High School or High School Coaches Association, which is a national organization. And he was our Sectional Coach of the Year, which I guess the section is the South. It consists of kind of North Carolina, South Carolina, and a little bit of a backwards L through Florida, yeah. So we brought Coach Vincent in tonight to be recognized by the board for all the wonderful things he continues to do at J.H. Rose on the baseball diamond. So.
Doing it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, just left the diamond, that's right. Throwing batting practice, I'm
Right.
sure. Yeah,
Right.
I'm sure. So, you come down. Yeah.
Good job.
The Board of Education would like to recognize you for creating excellence in the East and appreciate all you do. And when you retire and you sell your secrets, you're going to end up being a millionaire.
Marvin's got all my secrets.
Marvin's got it.
Marvin's got all the secrets.
I don't doubt that.
That's true.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Brock, can we ask him a couple of questions?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Last time I was in here, it was much more heated. There's too many questions.
It's pretty hot right now, actually.
It is.
So how many games are there in a standard season?
Right now, we're up to, we can play 24.
Play 24.
Uh-huh.
And you have coached 800 victories,
850 now.
850.
Uh-huh.
So that averages,
Yeah.
geez, how many a year?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of years. A lot of years, but, yeah, it's, you know, some years we've played as many as 30 games when we got into playoffs and stuff, and, you know, deep, so it's a lot of years.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. You've seen a lot of our students come and go. But you know, the one thing I love about Coach Vincent, if any of y'all have seen him around the community, I know Jennifer Little has, is that Coach Vincent never forgets someone's name. And that includes anyone who's as young as like 1 and 2 years old. It's absolutely amazing. He's
Got
well
Marvin
liked.
coaching him.
Yeah, I'm all.
Yeah,
Marvin is helping.
He's feeding him the names.
unbelievable. You're just a heck of an individual. I'm proud to know you.
Well, thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Appreciate
And
everything.
what you said, people don't understand, and I when I get a chance to speak to people, I deal with the best people in the world. You know, people pound the school system, as y'all know, pound the school system, but it's not accurate.
That's right.
It's not accurate. We have got great children in our schools, great children in Pitt County schools, great children that are going to be great citizens as they get older. You know, as I said, people want to run them down. Golly, I hope we don't hold things against me when I was 16, 17, and 18. But these kids are awesome and going to be awesome, great families, and Pitt County Schools does, the part that I see does just a great job with the children and the education, and proud to be part of it.
That's what I'm talking about right there, Mr.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we do have great children, as you all know, and we're going to see one of those in just a few minutes. But before that time, I want to bring up a first-year science teacher from CMFs, Miss Jennifer Stalls. Ms. Stahl is a first-year science teacher, as I said, but she recently presented at the National Science Teachers Conference in Boston, is that correct? In Boston, with a couple of representatives from Purdue University talking about how to improve STEM through collaboration with higher education. And I'm going to let her talk for just a minute about her research and her presentation there.
Absolutely. My research started 2 years ago when I was a junior in college through a Restep to STEM grant that allowed pre-service teachers the opportunity to conduct authentic research prior to entering the classroom. to give them that experience in their respective fields. So my research was in the relationship between language and science, and I looked at the argumentation patterns of middle school students, which is who I teach now. The students were asked to first read a scenario and then identify the claim that they felt best completed the scenario. And then students were asked to choose the evidence they felt best supported that claim. And finally, students provided a written response explaining their reasoning as to why they chose the evidence they did. And from the research, I found that over 60% of the time, students were able to correctly identify that evidence that best supported the claim. However, less than 40% of the time, students were not able to express that in their written response. So my research further supports why it's so important for teachers to implement explicit instruction and argumentation in their classrooms for a couple of reasons. First, it helps the teachers more clearly understand what their students know prior to teaching and then afterwards in post-assessments, but also helps eliminate those misconceptions students come into the classroom with from prior years, which is all too common in science. It's full of misconceptions. So I'm very happy to share my research with you that I presented in Boston, but more importantly, this is where my research began, was in Pitt County through ECU. My research began 2 years ago in Pitt County schools from testing students and looking at their responses, and I'm very happy to say that this is where it's staying as a first-year teacher. So I'm grateful to Pitt County for helping me with that transition from pre-service teacher to beginning teacher.
Pitt County Board of Education proudly recognizes Jennifer Stahls for creating excellence in that area east.
Thank you.
And we just hope that as a result of your research, that our kids will perform greater and greater.
Thank you.
That's what we hope.
And you stay put.
If not, we're gonna put this picture all over the page.
Will work.
It's a proud night for Mr. Principal, Epps Principal, Miss Rebecca Boyer, because we're going to Epps again. I'm going to ask Miss Tina Robinette, band teacher at Epps, to come forward and talk about our next individual.
Good evening. I first just want to thank you very much for having me and for taking the time. I know your time is precious, and so I really do appreciate just learning about the wonderful things that are happening and appreciate that you take the time to also recognize the wonderful things that are happening. So I am the band teacher at CMEPS. I'm just going to take a minute and just tell you about some of the great things that have been happening at our school this year. First of all, we have over 150 students in the band program, and every year the 7th and 8th grade students combine and rehearse together to travel to Jacksonville, North Carolina, and perform in a state performance-based assessment, and that's called MPA, or Music Performance Adjudication. And our school has a history of earning the highest ranking, and this year was no different. We traveled there and performed, and we earned the highest rating, which was a superior rating. In addition to that, we've had individual students audition for an all-district band, which is kind of like an all-star sports team for band students. So students from all over the eastern part come to Pitt County and they audition for this band. And our school had 7 students make the band. And of those 7, 4 of them earned the top 5% of their section, which then enabled them to go on and audition for all-state band, which was outstanding. In addition to that, last year, I have a love of jazz music, and last year I started a jazz band after school, and just to kind of see what the participation level would be, and it was immense. I had so many students coming to just be a part of the jazz band, and it just took off. So this year, with the support of our administration, we made it a 0 period. So students came before school, and it has just grown. We have more than 45 students in our jazz band this year, and it has just taken off. Because of that, this year will be the first year that CMEPS has a jazz band that will take our band to a jazz MPA, which is, again, that performance-based assessment for just jazz Jazz Band, and that takes place this Friday, which we're excited about. And then in addition to that, we've also had individual students for the first time ever audition for the all-district jazz band, which again is the same, but just specifically for jazz. And we had 3 students from our school make the jazz band, and of those, one of them made all-state jazz band, and was an amazing representation of Pitt County schools at the state level, and that is Noah Weinberg, if I could bring him up right now. Noah has been a part of all of that as a 7th grader. So he has played trumpet in our regular band, and he has played the first trumpet part, and he went to MPA with us, and he auditioned for and made all-district band. And then in addition to that, he has learned guitar, and he plays guitar in our jazz band, and he has been a leader on the guitar, and he is just an amazing soloist, just an improv solo. He just gets excited and just gets everyone else in the room really excited to play jazz music. So he made, and they only have one guitar student in the whole jazz band. They have 5 trumpets, 5 trombones, but 1 guitar. So he made guitar for our all-district jazz, and then went on, tried out for, and made the first chair for the all-state jazz band, which took place a couple weeks ago. And so he has been an awesome representation, and I'm so glad that he's a 7th grader. He'll be able to come back and help lead us next year as an 8th grader. So thank you again to Noah. Good job.
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to just be here and just share what I've been doing. Thank you so much.
But you came without your guitar.
We wanted to hear a little piece.
We'll have to come back.
That's right.
That's right, indeed.
We'll come to your performance.
And speaking of that, we do have a jazz performance this Saturday. It's at Rose at 7 o'clock, where my jazz band, the CMX Jazz Band, will perform with Rose High's 2 jazz bands. So it'll be at Rose High at 7 o'clock for an evening of jazz. Don't miss it. It's sure to be great.
Good job. Good job.
The County Board of Education proudly recognizes Noah Weinberg for creating excellence in the East. Let me shake your hand, because one day you may be on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Probably not. Good job.
Good job.
Okay, motion to approve consent items.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Owens made the motion, Mark seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, new business. Dr. Linker, open enrollment bill.
I think everyone got a copy of the open enrollment bill, but also probably got the email today that it was dropped in committee. So at this point, it's going to be sent to
Get that.
maybe a study group or something, but at this point, it looks like it's hopefully dying. And we will not deal with that again, but just, I don't know if there's any questions about the bill, but with that going on, I think it's pretty much off our radar for a while.
Excellent.
Right. All right, thank you. Human Resources Committee update, Ms. Owens and Delilah.
And I'll pass the ball to Delilah.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The Human Resources Committee met on April 29th in conjunction with the EPS Committee, and you'll hear that report from Mrs. Olmsted in a few. There are 2 things I would like to highlight from our meeting. Unfortunately, we haven't heard anything about the statewide implementation of the injunction that was given in Guilford County in Superior Court. We do know that that has occurred, but we have yet to hear from the state saying that it applies to all districts. So we are readily awaiting that so that we'll know how to proceed from this point. Because, of course, we talked about policy 7.112, which is the teacher dismissal, demotion, and renewal. We're waiting until all of that is settled before we revise that policy. So that is the main thing that we talked about. around that particular case, and I am continuing to work on 25% until I'm told not to do so. So we will continue on with that. And we also gave a teacher recruitment update. Our principals are busy hiring. The conditional hire was given a couple weeks ago, right before the break. And also our assistant principals have been busy screening teacher candidates for us. This is the first time this year, in conjunction with PAPA and our assistant principals, to further assist them in their development as a part of their professional development. They are doing pre-screenings for our teacher candidates with questions and a rubric that they developed to give a basic sense for principals what the strengths and weaknesses of our candidates are and what would be a better fit for them through a rubric that was created based on some other things that we've seen nationwide. So I'm very thankful to our assistant principals. Every single one of them have been involved in a committee. We had team leaders, so we're seeing leadership in many of our assistant principals. I would like to personally thank Ms. Ali Setzer for organizing that as the PAPA representative for assistant principals, and it has been very successful. We also are in partnership with Teach for America. That is a national recruitment organization that is working with 5 of our schools, Welcome Middle, Lake Forest, North Pitt, Pactolus, and Belvoir, and each of them are recruiting, starting out small, 2 positions in each of those schools. They are working with to try to do they're organizing the interview with the candidates, working with the principals, and these teachers that are hired will receive direct support from the Teach for America program. So we're very excited about our partnership with them this year and looking forward to many more years of teacher recruitment. So those are the things we want to highlight for today, and that ends my report unless you have any other questions.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Let's say the injunction stays. More than likely, if it's invalid in 1 or 2 counties, it probably would be across the state.
That is
That's
what we're waiting for. Yes, sir.
If it stays, what is the alternative, or what would the county do?
In regards
Say the injunction is upheld throughout the county, what would be your plan?
Start working on it. As far as, we still are looking at the percentages of teachers that they consider about 25% based on the evaluation process. But the thing is that the evaluation process was implemented 3 years ago, and it was not intended for that purpose. So what we're seeing is a lot of it.
Revert back to what you
Correct, to what we
originally-
normally had,
Okay.
which will not be the, now the tenure part is a separate part of
Yeah,
that.
I realize.
So there would be people that would not be offered the $500 based on that.
Either way, do we have to go forward with the 4-year contracts or?
They haven't decided about that in the injunction. I have not heard anything further about separating that piece from 4-year to 1 year.
Ms. Mildred?
What were those schools again that the partnership is with?
Teach for America is working with Welcome Middle, Lake Forest, North Pitt, Pactolus, and Belvoir.
Thank you.
Sean?
Have we ever done anything with Teach for America before?
No, this is a new initiative that we're working with this year.
My understanding in the Teach for America program, Teach for America covers the salaries of the teachers that they bring to the school system. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about the salary part. It's within our allotment. So
Okay.
what they do is designate 2 positions that they work, that we will hold out, and Teach for America will get the candidates for us, screen them and everything. So that is part of the recruitment process, and they stay with us for at least 3 years and receive professional development and coaching and mentoring through the company.
So we would be paying them, not Teach for America.
That is correct.
Thank you.
What they basically do is the legwork for us.
Mark?
There's a small nominal cost to the district.
That is correct.
Where there usually is for TFAs. However, from what I've seen, I've hired several, and they are very strong teachers, high energy. What you have to worry about is keeping them when you're done. And typically, they stay for 2 to 3 years.
Correct.
And, but they're top-notch educators. They typically get high growth.
Well worth the money from what we understand.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl? Mark, you got anything to say?
Not that I'm sure, I think Ms. Olmsted could say it more eloquently than I.
That's what I was figured.
Our meeting was in conjunction with the Human Resources meeting, and we had one item on the agenda. and that was the discussion about the Pitt County Schools Virtual Academy. We just sort of gave an update on where we are with that planning. We're planning the rollout for the fall. We're offering 8 courses online, virtually, through the Haiku Learning Management System. The 8 courses are going to be Honors English 3 and 4, Honors American History 1 and 2, Honors Pre-Cal, Advanced Functions in Math, Honors Chemistry, and Honors Earth and Environmental Science. We're working in partnership with Surrey County and Granville County. Granville County's been in the throes of a virtual academy probably about 3 years. Surrey County came on about 1.5 years ago. Our goal for next year is to keep it small, to work out the kinks, and I think it's going to be tough. We've got, when this was written, we had 21 teacher applicants wanting to teach the online virtual for us. Now we're up to about 27. The schools have gotten wind of it, and so we only have, each school has 8 slots per class. We've already had calls from outside the Pitt County school population wanting to know about this, and also within the Pitt County schools, we've met with counselors. They're ready to go. They sort of know the criteria. They're looking at students, and so we're going to work real hard to keep it small, get it running, get it work, get the foundation good, and then be ready to roll it out a little bit larger in the 15 school year. So that was our topic for the combined meeting. The rest of it was just a little bit of an update from senior staff meetings and what we're planning. And we just discussed the district strategic plan that I'm going to be talking about quite a bit in the upcoming months, and our work there. We did submit our progress report for the advanced ed, the 2.5 year. It was submitted. I've checked it today. It has not been read yet and approved, but it's been submitted. Also, we're meeting this week with the New Schools Project to talk about our global school, which is the dual language, and then also possibly the early college that we're working on, and that's a year out. Our STEM labs we've met with the company that's going to put the STEM labs in place. The principals are going this week to look at the schools, the 2 additional principals, and so those are in the makes. And then we're also we've met with the juvenile justice system about a structured day school, which is for a small pocket of students that are that's involved with the juvenile justice system and how we can support their learning. So any questions?
How's that going with the juvenile justice?
Sean?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, thank you. I just kind of jumped in there, I apologize.
Well, at least I didn't hear that.
That's right, I don't want to get.
I didn't use
I don't want to
this.
get sanctioned, sorry.
Excuse me, what'd you say?
How's it going with the juvenile?
It went well. It was a good meeting. I think it's going to be ready July 1, so.
Ms. Mildred?
I just wanted to comment and thank you for following up with that, because my concern is that we do have children that sometimes just don't fit for whatever reason. And my thing is, if they have issues and they are on medication and all of that, and then when they do something wrong, they get treated just like they are, quote, normal kids. And so hopefully this program will help more of our kids to be more successful and eventually become more functional adults. So
Thank you.
thank you for exploring that.
I appreciate that. You know, we really are trying to follow that mantra of opportunities for all students. So Dr. Nolan, she and I had a conversation the other day of, she's involved in a lot of stuff, and to look for those pockets of kids that need something different. And so that's what she's doing. Robin Wright, the director of EC, that's what she's looking at. We're going to be looking at some cases there possibly and coming forward to the board. So we really are trying to look at opportunities for all students and what we can do to meet their needs. So, thank you.
Thank you. Benji?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to pass the ball, as the others have, over to our very, very capable finance officer, Michael Cowan.
Good evening.
Report.
The Finance Committee and Operations Committee met on May 1st last week to review. The first item on the agenda was review and approval of the 2014-15 proposed local budget. A summary of that budget proposal can be found on pages 53 through 69 of your board material. And you have a budget review sheet as well at your seat there. The proposed budget includes county appropriations of approximately $38 million, with approximately $37.3 million being appropriated to operations and another $750,000 appropriated to capital. The proposed budget includes an increase in county appropriations of approximately $2.2 million, which includes fixed cost increases of approximately $1.2 million and $1 million in new money requests. The fixed cost increases include $954,000 for projected increases in salaries and benefits, as well as $250,000 in projected increases in the cost of utilities, as well as liability insurance. New money requests of $1 million includes $300,000 for teacher staff development, as well as a 1% increase in the teacher supplement, which will hopefully help bring the average teacher supplement for our teachers here in Pitt County closer to the state average, and would be the first increase in the teacher supplement here in Pitt County in over the last 10 years. In summary, the proposed budget includes 51% of dollars allocated directly to instructional programs, those are dollars directly into the classroom, and another 49% in supporting services to help run the day-to-day operation of our school facilities. With concerns to the capital budget of $750,000, it includes the likes of painting projects of $250,000, instructional allotments to the schools for technology of $240,000. We have a replacement of a maintenance truck, as well as replacement of activity buses as well. The joint committees, after review, voted unanimously to recommend approval to the full board, as well as to the county commissioners for consideration in their budget process, which begins this week, and Dr. Linker and myself are scheduled to present this Wednesday morning. So if there's any questions with concerns to the proposed budget, I'll take those at this time, or entertain a motion to approve.
Chair,
Hear a motion?
I move that we approve the local budget.
Second.
Benji made the motion, Mark seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Budget passed.
All right, thank you.
Christine?
All right. I likewise will recognize Matt Johnson, who will take us through the discussions of the Operations Committee.
Good evening. As Michael said, the Operations and Finance Committee met on May 1st, on last Thursday. A couple items that were discussed, operations side, cell tower lease agreement. We've got the final draft in this afternoon late, so that is ready for execution on our side. I will send that out in an email to everybody here to take a look at. It's been back and forth several times between Rob as well as Tharrington and Smith, so we think we've got it in order to where we're ready to execute that cell tower lease for the Epps School. Are there any questions on that? All right, the next item discussed was the bus garage survey. We did get the bus garage survey completed. We did end up with 14.041 acres. That is actual acreage out there on our bus garage site after having the guys out there doing the survey. We did ask the committees to vote on this, whether we wanted to move forward with the selling process or not, going that route. The committee did vote unanimously to continue to move forward with selling this property. So tonight, what we need to ask the board to do is to approve us to go solicit bids. As soon as we get a bid, we can bring a resolution back to the board to offer this property up for sale.
I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we authorize Matt Johnson as agent for the board to solicit bids for the sale of the school bus garage.
Mr. Robert, seconded. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The last item that I do have for you is we did go over in the same meeting our capital planning analysis that Michael and I have been working on for a while. Basically, we wanted to discuss the capital construction projects that are out there and the potential funding available for these projects. You do have a handout in front of you. It's actually front and back. The front is kind of an overview of what we talked about, and the back side of the page is an overview of the deferred maintenance, demolition projects, and other capital improvement projects. We reviewed with the committee $61.2 million of capital projects that have been identified as the high priorities for the county. $21.2 million in deferred maintenance projects, $20 million in demolition and reconstruction of Shakad as part of Phase 2 and 3 of the project, approximately $16 million of renovations of A.G. Cox, and another $4 million in other identified capital improvement projects. The committee also discussed that Shakad was still its top priority as we move forward. The committee also discussed the potential of $25 million available to us through the county. But we do have to go through county management to leverage this funding for us. That's something that is all laid out in this manual that was given out. If anybody doesn't have it, I do have a couple extra copies here and be happy to give them to you after this. But the committees voted unanimously to move forward with the capital plan to include priorities for the next 2 phases of Shakad, as well as to pursue with the county to go after the $25 million of funding. With this, the staff, we will start working with the architects to get our final design for Shakad, make sure we are in line with that. If we do get the budget funding, we'll bring it back to the full board for full approval to go ahead with this project. But we do want to get everything finalized, so when we do get that funding and we're ready to go, we can actually kick this off. We do think we can go out there and redo Shakad without moving any students from the campus. We do feel confident that we can actually get that organized and set out there on that campus without having to displace. With that, the committee also said the balance of the funding from that $25 million we may be able to leverage to prioritize that based on our other deferred maintenance, demolition projects, and other capital improvement projects, and bring that back to the committees and the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up our next 5 priorities, get them priced out, and bring them back to you and give you an estimated cost from what we think they'll be and what we think our priorities are as we move forward for that. Are there any questions?
Any question? None at this time.
Thank you.
Dr. Lincoln?
Just quickly, I'd like to recognize our bus drivers who last week had a lot of backing up and turning around, and I got behind one who just whipped right through a gas station, came out to the other side, did a great job. But they had, and I followed the bus driver right around because I was lost myself. But the bus drivers did a great job, and we kind of threw a loop in there on Wednesday to have to get out a little bit early. And they still got everybody home, no issues, but I just want to recognize they were out driving around a couple of those mornings. They had to make some changes, and they all did it on the fly. Joey Weatherington certainly directed that from his office, but did a great job. Thank you.
Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With it being prom season, I just wanted to say how grateful I was that prayers were answered, that to the best of my knowledge, we came out of prom season with no tragedies, no accidents, no devastations. I'd like to thank all the EC teachers who made prom possible for EC students as well, and that we offer equal opportunities for all students. I was very pleased recently to hear some schools have certain standards for prom attendance, that if you are not performing academically or attendance-wise, you will not be going to the prom. I'm in full support of that. Also, I'd like to recognize David's Bridal and several places that donated prom dresses and really made it possible for several of our students to attend the prom. That comes as no small cost to those agencies. And I know at J.H. Rose, I want to say it was over 100 dresses that were donated, which was nothing less than outstanding. I'd like to encourage all students and faculty to finish the year strong. We're at that final stretch. It's an important time. I'd like to thank Parents for Public Schools for everything that they do, not only finishing the year strong, starting the year strong, and keep it going throughout the summer. And I'd like to remind everyone graduation's coming up. I'm very pleased to hear some things that will be occurring at this year's graduation ceremony. I won't let the cat out of the bag for anybody, but I look forward to some news that our faculty is about to hear. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I would say I've asked Jeff to put up there the time that you have so you can see it. I asked him for a buzzer, but he couldn't do that. But he has the time right there.
That's nice.
You did a good job, Sean.
Can we have a
Mr.
gong?
Chair, that came out well under
I thought it was just dropping to the floor.
I thought he started the time mighty late, Mr. Chairman. I said,
Go
This is
for
not
it.
your time, Mr. Forrest. I still have 41 seconds.
Mr. Forrest tried to.
Yeah, Mr. Forrest is out of
Miss
order, Mr.
Mildred.
Chair.
You are out of order.
I know.
Mr. Parliamentary.
Just want to see if y'all will catch it.
Okay, I'd just like to thank Parents for Public Schools, too, for coming tonight, and hopefully, we will be able to engage many more parents in the process, because it's so very important to have positive parent involvement. And also, I'd just like to say that we want the parents and their children to get ready to prepare as the year wound down. And as our pastor preached on yesterday, it's in your hands, and every child can learn, and we hope that each parent will encourage their children to do their very best, work hard at it, and they can be successful. If parents and their supportive networks work on it, it can happen. So remember that and have faith, and it can work. And the last thing I'd like to mention, that tomorrow is Election Day, and those that are voting, remember those people that support public education and those people that are out there fighting for all the other issues that concerns the least of us, that have less resources. And think about those votes that were done in the North Carolina General Assembly this year as it affects education. We need some people that's going to fight to make sure that a master's degree counts for teachers, that our teachers get a fair salary, that our teachers are respected, and that we get the best educational system back in our state as possible. And also, we need to think about those people that did not support Medicaid expansion for our poorest people in our state, and also those people that also need good health care. All of those things. So when you go to the ballot box tomorrow, if you haven't been, consider all of that, because we all deserve a right to have a great quality of life in the state of North Carolina. Amen.
Thank you.
Well said.
Mr. Forrest.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just would like to express, not only do we have fine schools in Pitt County, but we have tremendous communities too. And both of them working together just makes me very proud to see what happens, especially when you have disasters to occur. When we had the tornadoes to come through Pitt County recently, and particularly in the Chicot and the Blackjack areas, and some of those homes, particularly 3 families, were devastated. And there were children that were involved with schools that were part of that. We even had one employee of Pitt County Schools that was directly hit and was involved with that. And to watch a community come together to help with that was just very, very inspiring. And the school at Chicot and the community over in the Blackjack and Chicot area are to be commended for a job extremely well done in supporting those people in their dire need. So I just wanted to thank the community for that.
Appreciate it. Mr. James.
Thank you. Everything everybody said is good. We're talking about Pitt County schools, all the good things that are happening. I may be a little late on this, but I'd like for everybody to grab this book, Inspire. It has every school in Pitt County listed, and it tells all of the good things, in addition to what you've heard here tonight, all of the good things that are happening in Pitt County schools. Get one. I think you can get one here at the central office, and they are all over town. So I suggest you get one, read it, see all the good things, and take it with you. So when you're in Oklahoma or California, drop it down and leave it for someone else. It may be a seed somewhere. In addition to that, I'd like to say, again, a lot of good things going on in Pitt County. Brock has what we call walking the halls. And if you just go on the internet at least weekly and sometimes every other week, but there are a lot of things that's going on in Pitt County schools. And he's capturing those by picture and words. So go on the internet and read about it and tell somebody. Because I think we are the mecca of the East when it comes to education. And I think we're going there. We've got data to support it, and I think that we will get there in short time. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Owens.
Well, I now know, Jill, what you and I can do next November, and Jennifer, and others who may not be here, but we can join the Walcoat staff, dance on the tables, and go to Atlanta, I think it was, and those were incredible articles. And I just want to know how it just lifts your spirit, and so therefore, we will know where our loyalties lie, and we can do that with them. So that's
Sounds
a good thing.
I'm
I
looking
know.
forward to seeing you.
I hope we can participate.
I want to go down the slide.
Yeah. Christine, Mark.
Tell you what, it's Owens. Be careful.
No.
I just want to say, I think a couple of people have mentioned tonight, Ms. Reed from Parents for Public Schools and Mr. Vincent. You know, it really, you take individuals that are career educators, people that are committed to our communities, and I think it can't be said often enough, there's not enough positive press for the many wonderful things that are happening on a minute-by-minute basis in public schools. Teachers that are making miracles happen on a shoestring budget in terms of making a difference in a child's life, whether it's that you speak to a child that no one may have spoken to or said a kind word to that child during the course of the day, or taught them to read, or taught them the alphabet, or taught them how to add and subtract. Those are priceless things that happen, that are miracles that happen every single day in our public schools. And with this being Teacher Appreciation Week, it's a wonderful time for us to just stop and thank a teacher, whether it's someone you had 30 years ago or whether it's someone you currently have in class. Teachers do make the difference. And the beautiful thing about public schools is that our doors are open to every single person of all walks of life, from abilities to backgrounds, rich and poor. Everyone is equal when you sit in that classroom desk and receive that high-quality public education. And that is what is so special about our schools, and we do have great schools in Pitt County. So thank you to teachers, thank you to educators everywhere for what you do.
Christine.
He always steals my thunder. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and for all the teachers out there, we do appreciate you. And I'd like to say to the parents, although you probably won't see this until after the election, I heard an interesting statistic a week ago that teachers only vote at about the rate of 9%. And it's about time that we stand up and use the process to our advantage. And I certainly hope that is an incorrect figure, or it will be tomorrow. Furthermore, I'd like to remind everyone that the school year is drawing to an end, but this is probably one of the most critical part of the year. It's wrapping up and testing and finishing well. So rally the troops, everybody do their part, and stay the course.
Well, I'm going to embarrass Carolyn a little bit because she does do a great job, and she is a warrior for education in this county in more ways than just her position here. And she has 3 daughters, and I think all of them have gone on full scholarships somewhere in the state of North Carolina. And her third child's getting ready to go to Duke on a full scholarship. So, but she doesn't just take after her own children. She really uses her passion and her knowledge and her intelligence and her positive attitude throughout the system to make sure that all kids get a great education. And she's done a great job at Rose, and very proud that her children are products of J.H. Rose High School. So thank you. And I know, and that's the thing about this organization. From the grassroots, it's always been about positive change. It's never been about whining or complaining. It's about positive change and incorporating the whole community into putting all that positive energy back into the schools from a parental standpoint. So I thank you very much. Teacher Appreciation Week, absolutely. I hope everybody reaches out and thanks somebody. And Elmhurst Elementary is going to have a 5K run and fun walk on May 13th, I believe it is. Is that a Saturday?
No, it's-
17th, thank you. I know something else is on the 13th. But anyway, on the 17th, and they're doing a 5K run and walk to raise money for hopefully a gym one day. So if you want to sign up, I think it's only $25. You get a T-shirt, and all going for a great cause. So thank you.
I'd like to add to what Jennifer said about Parents for Public Schools and actually hit on something that Carolyn mentioned. I think that one of the things that we can all do to support this organization is take to heart what she said. As you're talking to parents who are interested and or concerned and want to get involved, please refer them to Parents for Public Schools, because that's only going to make the organization and us stronger. So I hope we'll all keep that in mind as we interact with parents during the course of the year.
Don't have anything? No. I'd like to end with, well, I was riding down the road the other day with my granddaughter, and she's 9 years old, and of course, she's going to have to take the test, and she said, Grandpa, she said, as chair, can you get rid of testing? And I said, I don't like testing any more than you do. She said, well, I have one thing to say. You need to resign. I didn't, put it this way, I didn't stop to the store and buy her a snack. I think we all need to remember Billy Brookshire also, who worked with Pitt County Schools in the technology department. I went to high school with him, and he was a great fella, and I'm sure he was very dedicated to Pitt County Schools. And I want to ditto what everyone said. It's been a great meeting, and I think that what we, as board members, need to realize is that these folks in the committees, the staff, when they present information to us in a committee, that they are presenting information that they feel is to the best of this county. And that we really need to take what they give us and really apply it, because they've done all that they could do in giving us the information. I also think the meetings are going very smoothly because of the in-depth information that we are receiving as a board. And I thank you for that. Do I hear a motion?
Could I just mention one thing? One of our distinguished alumni of Pitt County Schools died in a fire. Dr. Felix Umfield was a graduate of North Pitt High School, and he was teaching at Buffalo State University, and his funeral is being planned as we speak. But he was a very fine gentleman that has done a lot of work in history and just all kinds of wonderful things from the Belvoir community.
That was a
So I just
tragic
wanted to,
death.
very tragic. It was a fire.
Tragic.
Very fine young man.
Mark?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go into closed session, one, to consult with our attorney to protect the attorney-client privilege and to consider and give instructions concerning a judicial action titled Francis Luthen versus Pitt County Board of Education, and also to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, condition of appointment of a public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against a public officer or employee.
Sean made the motion. I'm sorry, Mark made the motion and Sean seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll go into close. We're now ready to close session.